My name is Sophie Walker, and I'm 34 years old. I live in New Haven, a quiet city in Connecticut. I have two kids, Chloe, who's 16, and Ethan, who's 8. I used to be married, but not anymore. This story isn't about the divorce. It's about something worse. It's about how my own family tried to take everything from me. And how my daughter saw it coming, before I did. Let me take you back to where it all began. When I was growing up, my parents were strict but respected. My dad, Mr. Richard Walker, was a lawyer, smart, charming, and powerful. My mom, Barbara Walker, was a businesswoman. She owned several properties and managed investments. They cared about two things, money and reputation. As their only daughter, I was raised to be perfect. Perfect grades, perfect clothes, perfect smile. Mistakes were not allowed. If I got a B in math, my dad would say, "You're smarter than that." If I wore the wrong dress to a family dinner, my mom would whisper, "Don't embarrass us." I always followed the rules. I was afraid not to. When I met Ryan Mitchell in college, my parents were thrilled. He was rich, polished, and from a family of bankers. He wasn't kind or romantic, but he was the right choice. So, I married him. I thought I had done everything right. But life doesn't always go the way you plan. Ryan and I were married for 10 years. We had Chloe, then Ethan. I stopped working full-time and became a stay-at-home mom. At first, things seemed okay. But Ryan was cold. He never smiled at the kids. Never held my hand. Never asked how I felt. Slowly, I realized. I was alone in my own marriage. He controlled the money. The house. The car. Even what I wore. When I cried, he called me dramatic. When I asked for help, he said, "You wanted this life." But I stayed. For the kids. Then, one day, Chloe came to me, holding my phone. "Mom, why is Dad messaging this woman?" It was a photo. A message. Then another. That's how I found out Ryan had been cheating on me with his assistant, a 25-year-old named Haley. When I confronted him, he didn't deny it. He just said, "You're boring. She's fun. What did you expect?" He filed for divorce first. My parents? They sided with him. After the divorce, I moved into a small apartment with Chloe and Ethan. I took 2 part-time jobs, one at a flower shop and one at a cafe. We had to stretch every dollar. No more vacations. No more nannies. No more shopping sprees. But I was free. And I had my children. Chloe became my strength. She helped with Ethan's homework, cooked dinner when I came home late, and always kept her eyes open. Meanwhile, my parents suddenly started calling more. They invited us for Sunday dinners. Gave Ethan expensive toys. Took him fishing. Paid for his piano lessons. At first, I thought maybe they had changed. Maybe they finally wanted to connect. Chloe didn't believe it. "They're too nice, Mom." "Something's off," she said. I laughed it off. "You're being too careful. They're just grandparents." But Chloe noticed things I didn't. When we visited, they ignored her. When she spoke, they talked over her. When she got an award at school, my dad said, "Good job. But don't let it go to your head." And every time, they gave Ethan more. More gifts. More praise. More attention. I didn't see the pattern. But Chloe did. A few months later, my parents invited us to their 40th wedding anniversary party. They were hosting it at an upscale hotel downtown, the Grand Terrace. They sent out printed invitations. Over 100 guests. Full catering. Live music. I helped decorate, made a photo collage of their memories, and even borrowed a dress because I couldn't afford a new one. Chloe looked at me and said, "You're doing all this for people who never ask what you want." I smiled. It's their anniversary. They're still my parents. Chloe didn't smile back. She just said, "I'm coming. But I'm not pretending." The night of the party arrived. The hotel ballroom was beautiful, white lights, gold napkins, ice sculptures. Everyone was dressed up. Ethan was jumping with excitement. My parents looked like royalty. They hugged Ethan. They nodded at Chloe. They barely looked at me. Then, I saw him. Ryan. My ex-husband. With Haley. She wore a long red dress. He had his arm around her waist. I froze. I turned to my mom. Did you invite them? She smiled like a queen. Of course. Ryan's still family. I wanted to leave. Right then and there. But Chloe held my hand. Not yet, she said. Stay calm. Just watch. I didn't understand. But I stayed. Throughout the night, I noticed odd things. My dad kept whispering with Ryan. My mom walked Haley through the house like she was showing her future property. Ethan sat between them like he belonged there. I was just there. Like furniture. Then came the toast. My dad stood up, raised his glass, and said, family is about legacy. About strong roots and smart decisions. And tonight, I want to share something important. He looked at Ryan. Some people step up. Some don't. And those who do, deserve trust. Then he looked at Ethan. And a future. People clapped. I sat there, my face frozen, my heart pounding. What was happening? Then, Chloe stood up and walked out. I sat there, frozen. My father was still giving his toast. My ex-husband was smiling like a king. My mother was holding Ethan's hand like he was her own child, not her grandson. And Chloe? Chloe was gone. I looked around the room, but she had disappeared. I stood up quietly and stepped outside. The hotel hallway was quiet, except for the soft hum of music from the ballroom. I checked the bathroom. The hallway. The coat check. Then I found her. She was standing near a tall plant, on her phone. Her fingers were shaking. Her face looked pale. Chloe, I said softly. What's going on? She ended the call and looked up. We need to leave, Mom. Why? Because Grandpa and Ryan are planning something bad. Very bad. I didn't want to believe it. Not fully. What are you talking about? I asked. Chloe pulled out her phone and opened her photo gallery. I took these pictures last week. When Ethan and I were in Grandpa's office. She scrolled through several blurry photos, legal documents, typed pages, signatures. One had my name. Another had Ryan's. And then I saw the words, primary custody transfer. I grabbed the phone. This can't be real, I whispered. This must be old. Something from the divorce. No, Mom. The dates are recent. These were signed last week. I felt like the floor had dropped under me. I remembered my dad's speech. Some people step up. And those who do, deserve trust. And a future. He wasn't talking about family values. He was talking about giving Ethan to Ryan. Chloe held my arm. They're going to make it look like you're unstable. That you can't raise Ethan. That Ryan and Grandpa can provide a better future. I shook my head. No court would allow that. I have custody. But they're building a case. They're using your finances, your small apartment, your work hours. They're saying you're too emotional. My voice cracked. How do you know this? I heard Grandma say it last week on the phone. She said, we're almost there. We just need to push Sophie gently out. I closed my eyes. I couldn't breathe for a second. They're rewriting everything, Mom, Chloe said. In photos, in stories, in the way they treat you. They invited Ryan and Haley. They hugged them like family. You saw that. I took a deep breath. My hands were trembling. What do we do? We leave. Now, she said. Before they trap you here. Where's Ethan? With Ryan and Grandpa, by the cake table. I'll get him, I said. You go wait by the elevator. As I walked back into the ballroom, everything felt fake, the music, the laughter, the decorations. My mother spotted me. Sophie, she said sweetly, stay for the second toast. Your father wants to speak about the new trust. The what? I asked. Oh, nothing big. Just some small family business. Legacy stuff. For the grandchildren. That word again, legacy. That's when I saw Ethan. He was sitting on Ryan's lap, eating cake. Ryan whispered something in his ear. Ethan smiled and nodded. I knelt down and said, Ethan, sweetie. We're going home. He pouted. But Grandpa said I could sleep over. I glanced at Ryan. He smiled but said nothing. No, baby. Not tonight. It's late. Ryan stood up. Come on, Sophie. He's having fun. I stepped forward. He's coming with me. Ryan said, Sophie. Be smart. Then Chloe appeared at the door. Mom. Now. I grabbed Ethan's hand, and we walked out fast. Outside, the air was cold. My heart was pounding. In the car, Ethan fell asleep quickly in the back seat. Chloe opened her phone and showed me more photos. Scanned emails. Text messages. Even a voice memo. In it, I heard my dad's voice. Sophie was never responsible. Ryan is stable. If we take the house and Ethan, she'll have nothing to fight with. My mom's voice added. We'll say it's temporary. She'll accept it if we make her feel guilty. I sat there in shock. Everything I had trusted was a lie. My parents didn't want to help. They wanted to erase me. Chloe, I said slowly, how did you know? She looked down. Because I've seen them look at you the same way Ryan did. Like you're a problem to solve. She wiped a tear. They never treated you like a person. Just a tool. And when you broke their image, they replaced you. I reached over and held her tightly. I'm so sorry, I whispered. You were right all along. Chloe held me back. I didn't want to be right, Mom. I just wanted you to be safe. We sat in the dark parking lot, my arms around my daughter, my son asleep behind us, and our whole world changed. That night, after we got home from the party, I didn't sleep. I just sat on the edge of my bed, staring at the wall. Everything felt like a dream, a dark, painful one. My parents had lied to me. My ex-husband had tricked me. And I had nearly handed over my son without knowing. The only reason I escaped was because of my daughter. My 16-year-old daughter, who had seen the truth when I couldn't. The next morning, I called in sick to both jobs. Then I called a lawyer. His name was Mr. Douglas, a calm, older man with kind eyes. I met him at a coffee shop near the courthouse. I brought Chloe with me. She carried a flash drive in her backpack. Inside it were all the pictures she had secretly taken from my father's office, the audio recordings, and the notes she had written down. Mr. Douglas listened carefully. He didn't interrupt. He just nodded and took notes. After we finished talking, he said one thing. You need to move fast. What they're planning is real, and they have money. But they made one mistake. What? I asked. They underestimated your daughter. And they forgot that the law still protects mothers who don't give up. The next 2 weeks were like something out of a movie. Mr. Douglas helped me file a petition with the court, requesting a formal review of custody arrangements. We also requested a protective order to stop any transfer of Ethan's guardianship until further review. Then we submitted a formal legal complaint against my parents and Ryan for attempting to manipulate custody through deception and coercion. The documents Chloe found? They were real. But they hadn't been filed yet. They were waiting for me to agree first. To make it look clean. Now it wasn't going to be clean. Now it was going to court. During that time, my parents tried everything. They called me. Texted. Left voicemails. You're overreacting. We're doing what's best for the children. Why are you letting Chloe poison your mind? You always ruin everything, Sophie. Ryan even showed up at my apartment. He brought Haley. He stood at my door and said, if you keep pushing this, we'll take Ethan. You don't have the money to fight us. I didn't reply. I just shut the door. And Chloe? She sat on the couch with her laptop open, searching for more evidence, more laws, more protection. She was fierce. Quiet. Focused. I'd never been more proud, or more heartbroken that she had to be. Then came the court hearing. It was a rainy Wednesday morning. We walked into the courthouse holding hands, me, Chloe, and Ethan. Mr. Douglas walked beside us with a folder thick with papers. On the other side stood Ryan, in a gray suit, flanked by my parents, their expensive lawyer, and Haley, pretending to be someone she wasn't. The judge was an older woman with sharp eyes and no patience for lies. She listened as Mr. Douglas calmly explained everything. Asterisk the surprise party where Ryan and my parents made their announcement. Asterisk the documents hidden in the office. Asterisk the recordings Chloe had made. Asterisk the clear attempt to pressure and isolate me. When Ryan's lawyer spoke, he tried to paint me as emotionally unstable and financially unfit. But Chloe stood up. She asked if she could speak. The judge agreed. Chloe looked straight at Ryan and said, "My mom is not unstable. She works 2 jobs to support us. She gives up everything for us. She didn't want to believe her own parents could betray her. But I saw it. And I wasn't going to let her walk into a trap." She pulled out her flash drive. "These are the papers I found in Grandpa's office. I took them to protect my mom and my brother. Because no one else would." There was silence in the courtroom. Even the judge leaned forward. She listened to one of the recordings. The one where my dad said, "Sophie's not strong enough. We'll take Ethan, give her some money, and she'll go away." The judge's face changed. She looked at my parents. Then Ryan. And she said, "What I see here is a coordinated attempt to control and remove custody from a legal guardian using manipulation and emotional pressure. It's shameful. It's cruel. And it won't happen on my watch." She turned to me. "Ms. Walker, you will retain full custody. No changes will be permitted unless you file them. Mr. Mitchell is restricted to monitored visitation for the next year. And as for Mr. and Mrs. Walker." She paused. "You are hereby placed under investigation for fraud and coercion. Your access to the children is suspended until further notice." I couldn't believe it. For the first time in years, I felt safe. Chloe leaned into me and whispered, "We did it." I hugged her tight. Ethan was confused, but I just smiled and said, "We're going home." Epilogue, 1 year later. It's been a year now. My parents haven't contacted us. They're still being investigated. Ryan lost a job after word got out. He moved out of state. Haley's gone. No one knows where. And us? We're okay. Chloe got accepted into a college program for future lawyers. Ethan is happy, healthy, and still plays piano. And me? I sleep better. I laugh more. I stand taller. We moved to a small house in a quiet neighborhood. It's not fancy, but it's full of peace. Sometimes, people ask me how I got through it. And I always say, I didn't do it alone. My daughter saved me. When I couldn't see the danger, she did. When I froze, she fought. When I doubted myself, she believed. She was my eyes, my strength, my hero. And I will never forget that. Hope you enjoyed the story. Right arrow like this video, right arrow subscribe for more true stories, right arrow comment below. What would you do if your own family turned against you? Your story might help someone else see the truth in time. Thanks for listening.